Finally, in the last section of our lecture, now let's talk about submucous resection operation, SRO. This is one of very common procedure performed in the ENT, and it's known as submucous resection operation. In this section, we will talk about the overview of submucous resection operation, and then ligation of vessels and embolization. And also we will talk about another condition known as hereditary haemorrhagic telangiectasia. So submucous resection operation in persistent or recurrent bleed. So if the patient keeps on complaining or they have recurrent episodes of epistaxis or bleeding, the resection operation procedure is performed, known as submucous resection operation. Elevation of mucoperichondrial flap. So mucoperichondrial flap is elevated, and this is one common procedure performed for the DNS or deviated nasal septum, because if this deviation is not corrected, these patients constantly complain of epistaxis and they have recurrent episodes of epistaxis. So there is elevation of mucoperichondrial flap, and there is repositioning it back, sometimes leads to fibrosis also. So elevation of mucoperichondrial flap and then repositioning or bringing it back. Removal of any septal spur. If there is any septal spur or deviation or projection of any area of the septum, it should be removed by this procedure. So people who have constant issue with the epistaxis, they have recurrent or persistent epistaxis, they can be managed by submucous resection operation. And as the name shows, the deviated septum or septal spur is resected or removed, and then the repositioning of the flap is performed. But with the repositioning, sometimes it can lead to fibrosis also. Ligation of vessels. External carotid, bleeding from external carotid system above origin of superior thyroid artery. So if the bleeding is from the external carotid system, we already discussed about the external carotid and internal carotid system when we talked about the blood supply of the septum and the lateral wall of the nose. And in case of the involvement of external carotid system, the ligation is tying of the blood vessels tied. So ligation is done above origin of superior thyroid artery. If my maxillary artery is involved, then we have uncontrollable posterior epistaxis. Caldwell-Luke operation is performed, and this is removal of posterior wall of maxillary sinus, blockage by clips, transnasal endoscopic sphenopalatine artery ligation. So in case of maxillary artery, we do ligation of the sphenopalatine artery, and the maxillary sinus is between the so in this we usually perform Caldwell-Luke operation to expose the maxillary sinus, and from there we do the transnasal approach for the ligation of sphenopalatine artery. Ethmoidal arteries involvement in anterosuperior bleeding. Ligation of anterior and posterior ethmoidal artery, and they are exposed by Lynch incision. So these are different arteries which are ligated in different types of bleeding. In external carotid, we ligate above the superior to thyroid artery. In case of maxillary artery involvement, we ligate the sphenopalatine artery. And then in ethmoidal, we already mentioned we have anterior ethmoid and posterior ethmoid, and they are approached by the Lynch incision. Transnasal endoscopic sphenopalatine artery ligation using rigid endoscope. Transnasal is through the nasal approach. We use the endoscope to access topical or general anesthesia is given. Lifting the mucosal flap in posterior part of lateral nasal wall. Localization of sphenopalatine artery, closure with vascular clip, cauterization and repositioning, controls refractory posterior bleed. So this is the procedure, endoscopic procedure for the ligation of sphenopalatine artery. First there is lifting of mucosal flap, then we localize the sphenopalatine artery and closure it with the vascular clips which are used to close the blood vessels, and then after the closure we cauterize that blood vessel and then reposition it. This controls the posterior bleeding. Embolization. Embolization, as the name shows, the embolus are the small plugs that can stop the bleeding as a result of the blockage. Here embolization particles flowing to abnormal vessel plexus here. So these are the particles that flows and block the vessels. Safe procedure, but risks are associated with embolization via a femoral artery catheterization. So these embolization procedures takes place from the femoral artery catheter. Localization of internal maxillary artery, embolization from gel foam, polyvinyl alcohol and coils are used for embolization, ipsilateral or bilateral embolization. So can be on one side or on the both side. Femoral arteries are used for catheterization purposes to embolize the plexus, and it causes stoppage of the bleeding. General measures. Patient sitting and noted for spit or vomit. Reassure the patient. Check blood pressure, pulse, etc. Maintain hemodynamic and antibiotic given. Intermittent oxygen given. So all these general measures depend on how bad or profuse is the bleeding. If it's really bad, then we need to do the blood pressure, pulse, and then reassurance. Hemodynamics should be maintained, and even oxygen may be required depending on the severity of the condition. And then investigation and treatment of the cause to treat the condition, so we should not have the recurrent episodes. Hereditary haemorrhagic telangiectasia on anterior part of nasal septum causes recurrent bleeding. Septodermoplasty is done, excision and then split skin graft is performed. Septodermoplasty is repair of the septum and the skin, and usually there is excision and skin graft. Treatment is argon, KTP or ND and YAG laser. These are all the different types of lasers performed to treat this condition. This was all about our lecture Epistaxis. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.